again here with People Magazine. I'm here with the wonderful cast and director of Baby Ruby. I will start with you, our maestro. I got to read a beautiful director's statement that you wrote, and I feel like it's, I mean, I hope that it goes wide, because I just think it explains a lot of like your motivation. In that sense, could you talk a little bit about the why and like the experience of how this came to be, and then like working through it?
Sure. I'm a mother of 3, and the film really deals with sort of pushing out to the extremes of sort of the visions of motherhood that we don't see in our culture. I started the script when I was pregnant with my 3rd child, so I was really in it. And I wanted to make something that reflected the sort of craziest impulses that I was having in the most sort of blown out version of motherhood. So, you know, for me, I love my children. They're the best thing in my life. But I also feel that there's so much about motherhood that people don't know or that people don't talk about, and so much about mothers that people sort of discount in our culture and don't support. So I wanted to make a film that sort of brought that into the conversation.
Yeah. How was the experience as far as, was there some catharsis? Was it like making peace with things? How did it kind of, or did it impact you at all in directing the story after you've lived it? Or not that you're living the exact story, but
yes.
Yeah.
Not autobiographical. I think it was just cathartic to delve into sort of the deepest, most twisted places of my own imagination and bring them out into the light and talk about it and start to talk about the film with other parents and even people who aren't parents who relate to the film in their own ways of, you know, this is what I fantasized motherhood might be, or this is what I felt my parents might have thought, or, you know, there's so many different ways to enter this movie, and that's one of the things that was really important to me. You can enter it as a social satire, you can enter it as a psychological thriller, you can enter it as a relationship drama between these 2 amazing characters. It's a character study of one woman going through a major life transformation. So I wanted to make something that sort of had enough levels that whatever you're looking for in the film, you can sort of find a path through it in that way.
Yeah. I also like that it's not necessarily warts and all, because it is fiction and whatever, but there's like the culture we live in now where people are like representing themselves, trying to be picture perfect. So I just think it's so fun to explore the nuances. For you guys as actors, what kind of was there, I don't know if acting is cathartic in general, but how did the roles impact you kind of going through it, whether it was, you know, energy release or just a great script, all that stuff?
It is cathartic. I mean, for me, I don't know, to play and maybe even more role like that, because you go through so many emotions that most of the time in the real life you keep it inside you and you hide it from people, but also to yourself. Because, yeah, we are in a society where, I don't know, we have to be perfect, even maybe more as women. We don't have to show the bad sides or terrifying sides. So it's an amazing, brilliant movie where we can start to talk about, you know, real stuff. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, as we know, the life is not what we see on social media. And I'm not a mother, but going through this character, for me, the movie is not only about motherhood and parenthood. It's also how you deal with these questions and these different emotions in life when you start to, I don't know, be in an environment that change, and you have this moment in life. Sometimes you go through something new, and you don't know how, you're lost. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who you are. And it talked to me a lot. And this is powerful in your movie also.
Well, that's awesome. I always wonder. I'm not an actor, but I always wonder like how it moves through you, right, when you're doing it. How about for you, sir?
I think there was real catharsis in this for me. I mean, I think my boy, my baby boy, was about 4 months or 5 months old when we filmed this. So I'd just come out of the process that these two find themselves in, of early parenthood. And so I was literally exploring that in this movie. It was a big reason for wanting to do it. I think that for modern fathers, there's a feeling of being, you know, we are now becoming more and more involved in child raising. And as a modern father, there's a real feeling of being a bystander at times. You are not actively involved in the process of growing the child, and there can be a real feeling of not knowing what is going on, what emotions are happening, what the mother, your partner, is going through. And I definitely found that in with my experience of being a new father. I also really there was something, you know, in Bess's work that I responded to, which was this feeling of being told that you will instantly love your child. You will instantly love this baby. And I knew I was going to care for the baby I had, but I didn't know whether it was instant love. It was a stranger that had been planted into my house. Now I had to look after the stranger, and the stranger was keeping me up all night. You know, it's like it takes time to grow love, to get to know someone, and that for me, I found it took a few weeks, months to really get to know my child, and I think there's a part of that in this movie as well.
Yeah, well, I also think fear. I'm not a parent yet myself, but I feel like you just get to leave the hospital with your child and no one says anything. Right?
Especially in the US, right? It's really, it's quite drastic in the US. There's not a lot of support after childbirth that's given. I was quite shocked to hear how little support is given to mothers and fathers after childbirth.
Yeah. For you both that have children, how old will you want your children to be before they see this film?
Old enough that they won't be too scared, but not old enough that they're just coming into having their own children, because it might put them off.
Kit wants grandchildren.
Yeah, I want grandchildren. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what actually has been sweet is my kids came to set a little bit while we were shooting, and my 10-year-old has watched different moments of the film with me and given me her feedback on some of our visual effects. She's like, pick version 5, Mom. That's the one to go. So obviously, you know, I don't show her anything that's inappropriate for her, but having her start to see into the process of making a film is really exciting. And I feel as a working mother, that's really important for my kids to see and understand what I do, and I feel that sort of helps them. My hope is that gives them permission to speak their own truth, put their dreams out there, go for what they want, and they see me do it, succeed, fail, whatever it is, they sort of can envision themselves doing something similar that comes from their heart.
Yeah, that's awesome. For you both, like, have your partners seen it? I'm just wondering how they reacted to the experience of, like, because again, I do feel like there's a catharsis in, like, you know, seeing all the fears and the psychosis. Not that everyone has it, but like it's good to see it, right? Like, it's good to see not the cookie cutter version. I don't know if they've all watched it and been like, oh yes, this is great.
I can't wait for my wife to watch this. She's not here, and I've only seen it this afternoon. It's the first time I've seen it, but I think she'll really love this movie. I think she'll really respond to it.
My husband was a little traumatized the first time he saw it. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you can understand why. Yeah. He's seen it 3 times now, and this today, just at the screening, I think was the first time that he could, like, see it, appreciate it as an audience member without projecting. But he, you know, he loves the movie, and he's been really supportive throughout the process. And so, yeah, he knows that I'm a person who likes to push things to extremes. He's met me before, and that's really what I'm doing in this movie.
Yeah, amazing. We have precious little time because you guys have to get out of here, but is there anything you want to add before people see it? As a preface? what to prepare for, to immerse yourselves in? If there was levity on set in addition to some of the intensity?
There
was a lot of levity. You can't do a movie like this and then not be levity.
I hope so.
Otherwise, you don't get through it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fun. It was a great movie to shoot. I think movies should be fun to shoot first and foremost, and this really was. And that was thanks to you and you.
Yeah, it was really a little family. You know, it was a small crew. It was we spent a lot of time in the house where the movie takes place, and everyone. There wasn't one person involved in this process who wasn't giving 1,000%, and it really, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of tones in this movie, like a lot of risk images you never seen that are scary. There is comedy. It's a psychological thriller also, and again, it's not only for parents. Like my boyfriend and I, we saw the movie, and he was like, "Oh, I understand why you're scared of being a mother." You know, it's interesting because then you talk about things you're not used to talk about. Yeah. And me, I was happy to talk about my fears as in this question of having a child or not, why, and because it's things you show in your movie we never see, we never talk, and so it's important.
Yes. Lastly, to end on like a nice light note, because we did talk about ups and downs and business of parenthood. What are you both enjoying most about your kids right now, or being a parent right now?
It's so beautiful. It's so, like, my boy's 19 months now, and so he's tottering around just naming things. He goes around saying curtain or carpet, or, you know, he just likes impressing you with his knowledge. It's just the most, it's the most astonishing thing. It really is.
Yeah, I have a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 4-year-old, all girls. And it's amazing. They're turning into little people, and they tell you what they think. And yesterday was the first day of school, and they all went off to school in their backpacks, you know, with their pencils and their outfits picked. And it's just joyful it's a privilege to watch a human being become, you know, it's a privilege.
It's also knackering.
And yes, knackering.
Absolutely knackering.
That part's in the movie.
I was going to say, you use two good words we don't use enough in the United States, tottering and knacker. Those are good ones. So descriptive. We should use them more. Well, I thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm excited for people to see this movie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.